Hello, 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 my friends. Welcome to the Oh My Goodness podcast. My name is AJ Smith, the Joy Weaver, and I am excited. Today, we are diving into the golden headaches of me having a sold out coaching program and what my more than full time life looks like right now and how I'm navigating it. So often when we think, okay, I'm going to arrive. I'm going to get the thing that I wanted, and then I'm going to hit success. Everything will be fine. We think all of our problems are going to disappear. And sometimes they say, like, new levels, new devils, all that jazz. And I think our problems shift and change, right? And sometimes they get easier and sometimes they get a little more nuanced and complicated. But I thought it might be really helpful to hear what's kind of happening behind the scenes, right? Because sometimes people are curious. And also, these are the things I want to know from like my coaches. Like, I think it's kind of helpful to know, like, oh, okay, you're human too, right? Um, and also because in real time, the work I help people do is to shift and adjust when things are working or not working. Of like, okay, we're getting more information. What are we learning here? And so this is what I'm doing in real time. Is like, okay, what's working? What's not working? What are we loving? What are we not loving? Because so often there can be this like, okay, you got to do it perfect on the first try. And it's like, cool, but you don't know what perfect is or could be or looks like until you do it. And then you're like, oh, I don't like that. Or, oh, okay, that's what that feels like. I'll take two, or I'll do that more. Or never mind. I changed my mind. You don't know sometimes unless you try it, right? So this is me being a little vulnerable and sharing. So if you like it, let me know. Share it with friends. If you don't like it, don't let me know. Don't share it with friends. I don't know. Okay. First off, comes to mind is scheduling. So right now in my life, I run a coaching practice, right? I have 10 clients currently. I am also a Finger Pot Original Fairy Hair brand representative. I also do henna. I help run some LARPs, and I am doing the social media for one of those LARPs. And I am also a military spouse. I travel for like friend fairs and just fun and joy and life. And also, I think there's probably something I'm missing as well. I garden, but I stay pretty busy. And when we moved to Mississippi and I started picking up speed with my business, I was like, oh, this is just a busy season. Like, this is just a busy couple weeks. It'll die down in the next few months. And then it didn't. And I was like, okay, well, this season, but then, it'll die down. And it didn't. And then I was like, okay, but it's Mardi Gras, it's February. It's busy season, it'll die down. And it hasn't. And I'm like, oh, this is just my life. This is just how I exist. And I don't know if I mentioned this on a podcast yet, but I did the math. And last year, I did not sleep in my own bed for 33% of the year, which is crazy. Between trips and moving internationally, like we slept in a hotel for a hot minute right on either side as we were getting into our house. But 33% of the year last year, I did not sleep in my own bed. And I did 69 gigs that I worked between June 2nd and December 31st. That's not coaching clients. Like that's gigs I worked. And when I did that number, I was like, how is that even possible? I mean, I know there's 69 days, but like there's more than that, obviously. But that's basically like a third-ish of that time. And I was like, that is wild to me. Plus, I had multiple trips. And what I realized was the way I had been formatting my travels in life, it just like puzzle pieced together. And I kind of do like a month at a time. So I wasn't seeing the big trend. And the big trend is I'm a lady with a full calendar. And because my coach, Julia, would be like, AJ, I think this is just your life. Like, and I'm like, it'll die down in a little bit. Like, it's fine. And then it's like, okay, but what are our systems in place? And so what I've been noticing is my system, my body system has started to feel the impacts of going without implementing my sanctuary days like I used to. And like I do them on and off. I'm going to do a podcast on sanctuary days coming up. And sanctuary days are 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday, that I take off. I don't touch electronic messages, although sometimes I have to because sometimes I have meetings on those days or different things. But on the whole, I'm not doing clients. I'm not touching. stuff. I'm not checking Facebook. It's AJ time to breathe, reboot, reset, prep for the week. And I was just like, it's fine because I got to do all these things for other people. Mm, mm. It's like a side eye, like a fourth wall. I mean, the whole podcast is a fourth wall, right? But um, when I was like, it's so everybody else feels good, or so no, I don't let anybody down. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting phrase that I don't get my soul care time. I don't get a break because I'm worried other people will want to message me that day and I won't respond for 2 days. Like the world, there's nothing I do. I'm not important enough that anybody needs a 24-hour turnaround from me. Nothing. And it's almost like pedestaling myself to be like, oh, I can't take this time because, what if somebody needs me? Oh, okay, they can wait. Or if they need me, they can call Jer or they can call my phone. If somebody needs me that important, they have my phone number. They have a way to contact me. Does that make sense? And so sometimes I think when we're doing things or we're like, no, it's fine, it's no big deal. When we do that, and this is my tendency, it's because we don't want to inconvenience other people. Like I am a recovering people pleaser. And and I've gotten better at noticing when I'm going into that default because that's also part of how I burned out in the past with my business. Because I was like, okay, I need to save everybody. I need to make sure everybody's okay. I need to no, people are grown ass people. I can support them. I can help point them back to their higher power, to their sense of self, to their knowing. And I can be there to help them build out their tools and walk alongside them to grow them, right? Like, yes, this is my life work. This is my calling. It is the best. I love it. Working alongside by side by spirit is the greatest. And also, it is an energetic, toll is the wrong word. It's just an energetic work. It is just energetic work. It just takes energy. It takes capacity. And if I don't have capacity, I cannot do the work in a way that is honoring to what spirit has called me to. Does that make sense? Are you following? So it's almost like I used to pour out of a pitcher, right? Like a pitcher of water. And I'd be like, okay, got to refill. I am working out of a well now. My well has to be working. I have to be in connection with spirit. I have to be in connection with my higher power. I have to take care of my body. I am working festivals and markets and gigs. I am driving. I am flying. My body is essential. I cannot run her down. I have run her down in the past and I have paid the price. My hands went out 3 years ago now. Ugh, gosh, that whole season was just really rough. I I had a carpal tunnel in both hands so bad. I was in custom made braces the next day. Like I went to the doctor, had my appointment, and I was like, I'm fine. I just need to do some things. And they're like, what's going on? I was like, I'm just in excruciating pain all the time. But I just think I need to do some exercises or stuff like that. And he's like, no, you need to shut down your whole business and you need to not work out and you need to not do these things and you need to not write, not journal, not henna. And I'm like, it's literally my business. I was doing VA work at the time, like typing, and I just onboarded clients and it was a whole thing. And I was like, I'm sorry, you want me to shut down everything? I cannot. And he's like, do you want your hands in 80 when you're 80, when you're 60? Do you want your hands? And I was like, yes. And he's like, then you will give yourself 3 months to rest. And I went and got fitted for custom made braces. And I went home in braces with hands and got my custom ones a week later. And I tried to make it work and I hired out my friends to help be literally be my hands. And it got so bad I could not type. I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't grab my toothbrush. I had to hold it with both hands, like knives. I would be driving, my hands would go out and I'd have to use my knee and my palms because I couldn't grip. It was when I tell you it was insane. Every day I can journal. Every day I tie my shoes. Every day I do Finkelpot's original fairy hair. Any day I type. I mean, I still use dictation. If you ever get an email or see my post and there's a spelling error, it's because I use dictation. I don't really type with my hands much. Is a gift, is an absolute gift. But you know what flares when I'm not taking care of my body? My hands. And I wonder sometimes, I hate this, but I also think this. If my hands hadn't gone out, I would not have leaned into coaching, to every energy work in the way that I was feeling called, but I was really nervous about because I was like, well, I'm making good money with VA. Like this stuff is really vulnerable and kind of puts myself out there like, it's fine, it's good. And then my hands went out. I just think it's fascinating. And so now I get body work every other week. And I've for the last probably 10 years, not 10, maybe like 8, I have gone and gotten a massage every month. And like in the past when he was not an officer, and I was making like more like hobby money, I would go to like the massage school where it's like $40, right? And sometimes you get a good massage, sometimes you get a very unfortunate massage that you're like, what was that? I hope you are not about to graduate. So the secret is if you're like, I would like a monthly massage, but I don't have the money, go to a massage school, get a massage. If it's good, ask her or them how long they're going to be in school for, and then keep going to that person. And once they're about to graduate, ask them who they recommend, who's about to graduate. And so that's how you always make sure you have a good student that you can get a massage from. I have learned that. But now I go every other week, which feels outrageous to me. And her name is Bobby. She's at Mind and Body Inc. Here in Biloxi, Mississippi. And she's marvelous. She does myofascial and like some energy work and all this stuff. So I'm just kind of like, here's my body. But I run like miles every week. I like lift weights. Not like I used to before my hands went out, but I still lift. But if I don't go every 2 weeks, maybe every 3, my body feels it. And so that is a new level of care that I've had to put in place for my body to function at the level I'm functioning. When you start succeeding at a certain rate or things, you have to have systems in place for your body, for your energy, for your emotions. And something we've done for a while, but has gotten more serious about is we are butts in bed 9 p.m. Like 8:30 is like dream life, butt in bed by like 9:30 at the absolute latest if we're doing something. And we are asleep by 9:30, 10 if we're like both reading a book and we're like, okay, just one more chapter. Okay, like one more chapter. But on average, we're asleep by 9:30 and we are awake at 4:30 a.m. And this might feel crazy to people, but I feel so much better when I get good sleep and when I wake up in the morning and I go for a run, I go for a workout first thing. Do I love it? No. I mean, yes, but I love it because of how I feel. And then the other part of the system is I work a 12-step program. So I go to a meeting first thing in the morning to just get my head on right, to just, okay, come together with other people who are learning and striving and growing in that way. And I just like, okay, and I just get centered. And for a hot minute there, I was booking calls at 7 a.m. during that time. And then I wouldn't be able to go to my meeting. And then I'd kind of feel like off during my day. And I'm like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And then I was like, oh man, I haven't been to a meeting in a couple of days. Like I kind of, and I was like, I could just not book calls till 8:30 a.m. I could just block that out in my calendar. And so I started doing that and I was like, oh, now every morning I get to go to my meeting. Unless I have a festival on the weekend, I go. And it feels so good. Just like even if I'm not lifting heavy weights in the gym, even if I go for a long walk, it feels so much better for me. But that rhythm of consistency has required me to be okay making other people uncomfortable that you can't book me at 7 a.m. You have to book me later. So I'm sorry if this is inconvenient for you, but here's what I need. And and it's been this weird golden headache for me of like, are you okay? Like, hey, here's what I need, but it's going to hold space for you. But it's like, no, what's good for me is good for my clients. And I've seen that across the board and I've seen other coaches kind of go through this. And so I think it's really helpful. Well, hopefully, my heart is that this is helpful for you too. But this is true for you as well. What's good for you is good for the people around you. You being resourced, you being grounded is good for the people around you. When I burned out, I remember thinking like, great, now I'm suffering with everybody else. Nobody can need anything from me because I am unavailable. I cannot. Like there was no hope. There was no room in the end. And those who were there in 2021, you remember I was not a human. And I was just a husk. I was just a husk. And you know what? Everything got worse. Everything got worse. The world around me got worse. I got worse. I lost friendships. My marriage just, I mean, thank God for my husband, but like that just kind of sucked. He didn't suck. I sucked. Uh, but like my spirituality just like crashed. My work kind of was like just not at its peak. I just dropped the ball. I ghosted online. I didn't really post. If you go back and look, I didn't post in 2021 and 2022. I think I maybe made 10 posts total, maybe 20. I don't know. But just, I just find it really fascinating. And so I felt guilty before for feeling joy and for being okay when other people weren't. It felt like I was taking away. It felt like a privilege that I felt guilty for. I'm white, so I have privilege. I'm pretty, so I have pretty privilege, right? We are okay financially. We have wealth privilege. And I felt so bad for having joy privilege that I was wired higher. And then I crashed. And then I was like, see, I'm just like you. And it all sucked. And so here's what I know to be true, that when I am resourced, everything around me flourishes. It flourishes. It's people are like, you have a magic touch. When you walk in, everything gets better. And I'm like, thank you. It's true. But it's because now my well is open. I am overflowing. I'm not, I'm not, tr I'm not like trying to prove like I did before of like, okay, here's what I'm bringing. I am just working from overflow now. And it makes a world of difference because there's more than enough. And here's specifics. There's more than enough if I'm staying resourced, if I'm taking care of myself. And so for a people pleaser, this has been weird to navigate because then I have to do this thing where I set boundaries. I know wildness, right? Wildness. But it has helped me grow to where I am now in my business over the last like 3 years that I've worked on this to be like, okay, here's what I need if I'm doing this, right? My contracts, golden headache, are written in such a way and they get adjusted on occasion, right? When something comes up or something happens, I'm like, hey, let me make this more clear. And the way I think about contracts, because I remember signing a coaching contract I was on the receiving end for, and I was like, this is really intense. And she's like, this is so you feel equally held and safe as I do. She's like, we're assuming everything's going to be good, but just in case life happens or things, we know how to proceed. I was like, okay, so it's for both of us. And so I've brought that into my contracts with my clients of like, hey, you let me know if there's anything you want me to add or shift or change that makes you also feel safe and held. And we build out these systems for us to thrive in, right? And I used to think like, systems are for the serious folks. And now I'm like, my success is outpacing my systems, right? And like I am sometimes running out of daylight where I'm like, I needed to get this done and I didn't get this done. And maybe I could get this done tomorrow. And it's like, okay, what's not working here? And it's like, okay, it's because I'm trying to do all of these things and I'm not prioritizing this. So I'm like handing some new stuff off to my VHS of like, okay, can you take over this part? Or, okay, could you work on this part of the content so I don't have to do that? But it's also allowing myself to be more supported, which is wild and interesting to ask for that kind of support and to lean into it. This has also looked like being more honest in my relationships about my time and capacity. And at every base until this one, I have made a friendship post to say, hey, I just moved here. Here, I'm AJ. Here's what I love. Here's the kind of friendships I like. I love dancing. I love this. I didn't make one at this base because I was busy. I was working. And it's been almost a year. And I'm like, I can't believe I never made that post. But I've made friends. So it's all good. But all of my friends, I've been pretty upfront to say, hey, when I'm with you, I am going to be present. But when I am not, I am working, I'm doing other things. So if you need me, you got to message me. Like we will meet up. I will love it. But if it's not my calendar, it does not exist. I am not that person that will message you every day to just be like, hey, how's it going? But like that's just not me. And like I'm in a couple group chats here and there where, sometimes we do check-ins. But on the whole, if you're looking for that kind of friendship, I cannot give that to you, right? I don't have capacity for that in this season. But if you want a friend that you can give a random like, hey, are you free? And I can be like, no, but I am in an hour for 45 minutes. Do you want to go for a walk? And they're like, yeah, sounds great. Perfect. Right. Or like, I just made some frozen meals with some friends the other day, or yesterday I messaged a friend. I'm like, hey, I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm free from this time to this time. Do you want to catch a quick dinner and like catch up? And she's like, yeah, I'm in. Let me put on my dress. I'm on my way. And I was like, okay, cool. And we had a delightful evening, but I am letting that be okay. And this has been a big adjustment for me, that that is the friendships. If you do not live next to me or near me, I give you a calendar link. If you're like, we should catch up sometimes, perfect. Here's my calendar link, book a link in the time. And I have friends that refuse to use it. And the hard part is, it is literally easier to use. This is my filter, but this is also golden headaches where I'm being honest and vulnerable. Going back and forth, I may forget to respond, and then we're not going to find a time. On my calendar, you can see what's available. You can select it. It puts it both in our calendars. It makes a Zoom link. It sends us reminders. It's perfect. It's great. But they're like, hey, when are we hanging out? And I'm like, here's my calendar. Like, grab a time. Like, let's do it. We'll craft or we'll chill on Zoom. Like, it'll be great. And then I'm like, hey, did you find a time? They're like, yeah, when would you like to meet? I'm like, please use the calendar. Like, I don't have my calendar on me. Like, and like maybe we could sit down, but I've tried it multiple times and we go back and forth, and then somebody goes to bed because we're on opposite sides of the world, but I'm making peace that like in this season of my life, if we are hanging out virtually, it's got to be on the calendar, or it just doesn't exist. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen because either I forget to follow up or they forget to follow up. And it's not hard on anybody. It's not a bad on anybody. It's just a truth of the matter. And so I think being aware of how friendships and relationships might change, and I've lost some and I've gained some, has been really eye-opening in the season. And also, like, this might sound weird, but who cheers you on when you're doing good? That has been interesting to see, um, and hard as well. Because when you're like all in the hustle together, there's a bonding thing. But then when you see somebody thriving, it can be easy to be like, fuck her. Like, she should be struggling and wrestling too. But I am so grateful that I've been surrounded by so many amazing women and people who are like celebrating me being sold out or having the business that I do. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're doing great work. And I'm like, thank you so much. I'm like, what do you need? Or how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing really great. Like, you want to call and catch up? And sometimes I'll just call random people. I'm like, hey, I'm on my hour and a half drive to NOLA or from NOLA. You got 10 minutes? You want to catch up? And they're like, yeah, cool. And like letting it be light. I think that's my biggest golden headache right now, or not golden headache, but the stretchiness of it is, I think I took business so seriously for so long that I almost made it a slog. And I wish, and people told me this, and Mary Grace, the messy healer, said this in the beginning. She's like, flow and ease. And I was like, I hate all of that. No, we got to hustle. No, you don't. But when we have more flow and more pleasure and more delight, it makes it easier to do business and go after our goals in a way that we are resourced in versus scraping the bottom of the barrel. Just one more and I gotta go. Right. And like I'm thinking of David Goggins, who's like, you've always got 40 more percent than you think you do. And I like did that for a hot minute and then I burned out and then I got diagnosed and then I got sober and I just don't have capacity. I just don't have capacity. So like go team go. I love it. I actually do. Like I kind of want that, but like nah. Does that make sense? Like, I, my body can't take that anymore, and that's okay. And so I've had to like pull away from the comparison of what I think a business should look like and the rate it should happen. Some people are like, this happened so quick for you. I'm like, I've been in business for 15 years. I've been doing one-on-one work for 5 years. Like, we've been putting in the time and effort to get here. And that means my rhythms and the way that I do things, from how I sleep, when I sleep, and like, oh, also something that is deeply working, because I want to share some things that are working too, is like we got a hot tub. It's like $700 on Amazon, which is a lot of money and also like savable, right? We got a hot tub. It can fit like four people, but like two people comfortably. It is saving my life lately. Almost every day I'm in there for 15 minutes and my body just feels so much better. I am a mermaid at heart. I gotta be in the water. But it is so nice for my body after a full day of doing a market or a festival where I've set up and taken down the tent to go be in water, hot water, and just read for a hot minute. But letting things be light and easy. For example, golden headache is we are both very busy. We do not have time to make whole meals, like to cook, do all the stuff. And so we looked into what is it? The starts with an F. I can't factor. And we did that for a little bit and mom's meals. And then now we're using Ready Chef, Home Chef, Ready Meals, something like that. And it's been so nice to not feel guilty about using that tool. And also, we're saving money on groceries. Like, I know it might seem like we're not, but actually, we are because we're not wasting things and I'm not buying recklessly at the grocery store. But having meals that, like, okay, we can make, and I have the recipe in front of me that I can see because when it's on your phone, I don't know, something about it just makes it harder to see. It's like, I can't, when I see a Google Calendar, I can't actually see it in my, I understand it. I see what I'm looking at. But when it's in my calendar and it's laid out in time chunks, I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. But letting it be easy. What would be more playful? What would be more kind? What would be more gentle? That in this season of growth and success in my business, I'm like, I would have gotten here either way. But actually, how I got here to this moment is by being more kind and open with myself of like, okay, what do I need? What does more support look like? Looks like having Jess here 2 hours every week so we can work ahead on content, or she can start doing some more stuff with podcasts, or, cutting this up into pieces for TikTok. Like, I've never taken any part of my podcast to put on TikTok. Do I want to? Yes. Do I have time to? No. But I can hire this out. So I can hire out support, or like we have a cleaner lady that comes every like 6 months, I think, to do like our carpets in our bathrooms to just like reset. Zola. She's marvelous. I adore her. I probably need to call her next month, actually. Um, but it's just like this little bit of help of like, okay, what are the systems I need? Where am I struggling? And being honest with that of like, what's feeling sticky? And something I just did recently is I had my sanctuary days Monday, Tuesday. I blocked them off so nobody can book them. No friendship calls, no work calls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? AJ's a bitch. This is crazy. And then I'm like, but if they like the version of me that I am, the version of me that I am requires me to have breathing room. And like what's on my calendar is on my calendar. So there's stuff that is scheduled on Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's it. That is what it is. But in the future, no, it's soul care, it's catch up day. And then Saturdays and Sundays are market days or festival days. And then Fridays, I now made unbookable. So that sometimes I might be doing markets, but sometimes I might just have an adventure day or traveling. Oftentimes, I'm also on a plane, a lot of times on a Friday. So I was like having to reschedule calls often. So now my coaching calls are basically on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I have some on other days too from my past schedule that are just here. But in the future, mostly they're going to be there, which feels wild, but also it's making space for me to stay resourced in other ways. And also I'm doing markets and festivals. But do you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes we think like, okay, everything, we've made it, we're successful, we're here, don't touch anything. But the thing is that when you get to a place where you're kind of like arrived, where you get some breathing room, you're like, oh, okay, what's working? What's not working? Like in my programs, I'm like tweaking, like I'm in a, my prices are changing, my offerings are changing now that I'm sold out. It's like, okay. And which I've been saying for like 5 months, like, okay, I'm going to adjust. And then I didn't. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to adjust. And then I didn't. Now I'm like, okay, we're actually adjusting because I'm in my programs. I'm like, you know what? I think it'd be really cool if my Radiant Soul Support actually had 16 calls instead of 12, like over 6 months. Like you get all of the support you want and then some, right? And like, okay, I think I really like this. Okay, I think I want, okay, my halfway reflection calls, I don't want 30 minutes. I want an hour to dive in with them where we kind of reflect. And so I just want to give permission that like, it's okay if you have hit a level of success or like, okay, I made it, but like, this isn't what I thought it was. Cool. What's that information giving you? It doesn't have to mean anything, but it feels vulnerable to speak about, which is why I wanted to record this because Melanie Ann Lair has this phrase and she says, I go first, where she shares, like, okay, here's what we're learning, here's what we're diving into, here's what we're exploring. Because my vision for me is to be an embodied, abundant woman of like faith, of spirit that leads with joy and wonder and delight in her life and is a permission slip for others to do the same. That is my calling in this life. That looks like a lot of things in practice, right? Between coaching, loving, and just henna, friendship, da da da. But that's that. And that requires me to be kind and gentle to myself and not be like, but it's got to look like this and I gotta. No, no. There is space, there is time, there's openness. And that space and time and openness, because I used to be like, it's all flexible, it's all like, and then my husband told me I was actually type A, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm like all good. And he's like, you're all good if it goes your way. And I was like, oh, I am scandalized. And I was like, also, that's a very good point. That I'm like, okay, but here's the plan. And so now I'm like, okay, yeah, here's the vision, here's the dream. How do we make this happen? What are our systems in place? What are our SOPs? Like, I never thought I'd be a systems person, and here I am with a planner and like systems. Wild. We can all change, right? And but it takes planning. Like the things I'm implementing now, I'm not going to see the fruits of for like another 3 months. And that's okay. But I'm already noticing the energetic difference in my body from being like, hey, I am no longer taking any new bookings for Monday, Tuesday, Fridays. I'm just not. If it needs to happen, cool, we'll put that in there. But I have this space and flexibility now. And I'm like, okay, oh, I'm allowed to do that. Oh, I'm allowed to ask for what I need. Oh, I'm allowed to say, oh, thank you so much for leaving at 8 because I got to be in bed at 8:30 because I got to read for my 30 minutes and go to bed because I got a new day tomorrow. Okay, I've got my planner. I spend time at the start of the week. I plan out my week and I make sure everything in my paper planner matches up to my Google Calendar because I literally last week, guess who did not do that on Monday? Me. Guess who made a mistake? Me. Guess who had to cancel a few things? Me, because she double booked herself. But instead of hating myself and being like, oh my gosh, how could I do that? Excuse me. I was like, oh yes, this is why that planning day on Monday is so important because if I don't prioritize this, it throws the rest of the week off. And so it's one of those things that like, hey, this is a higher priority. My self-care, my vision, my embodiment, my rhythms are kind of high intensity because I have a high intensity life. Like the energy has to match the vibe. And there are gaps in that where I'm like, ooh, I maybe want my husband to come on a few more trips with me. How can we make this work? Or, okay, hey, I don't want to have a every month trip, but maybe this is an every other kind of month thing. Doesn't mean any of it was bad. It's just like, oh, what would feel better in the future? Okay, how could this feel even more spacious? How could this feel even more nourishing? That's the energy we're leading with, right? That when we have these golden headaches or moments, we're not like, oh my gosh, I should be more grateful. I should be more things. We are grateful. I am trust. I am swimming in gratitude. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, God, I love this life. Is the outside world being crazy? Absolutely. Are we calling our Congress people? Absolutely. Are we doing the things and like having conversations? Absolutely. And we are doing our work in this world to make it better, to show up, to give people tools. Does that make sense? Like we can be growing in real time without making it mean things about us. And I think that clears up space energetically to move quicker when we don't have to get into the story of it of who does it mean that we are if we're struggling with XYZ or setting boundaries or asking for what we need at a new level, right? Remember, we're spiraling up. So even though you've learned how to do this, right? I know how to say no. I know how to say, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that. But how do we do it when it's a self-care thing and not like a time thing? How do we do it when it's a big proposal and not a friend request? Do you see how like you're learning? It's like your skills are up leveling. So like you know how to do it. And then it's like, okay, we're being asked to do it on a bigger level. Okay, we're doing it and there's more at stake now. Okay, we're doing it and now we're doing it on this level. And it's like, okay, like I'm growing my capacity to hold the both and, right? I talked about this a couple weeks back on the podcast of our world being crazy and also being deeply rooted in joy and trust in spirit and that the soul of every person is good and worthy of goodness and common humanity and human rights and trans rights and queer rights and that Black Lives Matter and like Palestinian lives and Iranian lives, like all of these lives matter so much that we should be cherishing the humans around us, right? We should be loving with hands on. And to do that, we have to be resourced. We have to be in our bodies. We have to be here to do that. So just know that if you're growing and you're like, wait, I just had a baby and I thought this was going to be beautiful and helpful. Girl, you're in a new season. What do you need? What do you need in this new season? Okay, things are not clicking. Why? Can we get curious instead of shameful? Curiosity is like the opposite of shame. We can't be curious and be shameful at the same time. I mean, like sort of, but not really. Because when we ask, oh, that's interesting, why? Why is that happening? And shame's like, because you suck and because you can't actually get a clear answer. So shame literally has to leave for you to be like, is it because of this? Is it because of time? Is it because of energy? Is it because I don't like this thing? Is it because I said I would, but now I like said yes out of resentment and guilt, and now I'm like frustrated I gotta do it. Ah, okay, okay. I'm gonna do the thing, but next time I'm gonna clarify. Or let me circle back and see if I can't shift. There is a conversation I had today that I'm recording this podcast where I said yes to something that, like about 6 months ago that a new person's in a new role. And I was like, hey, I said yes, but things have changed. Now my capacity has changed. So I can say yes to this specific role, but I'm happy to help you build this out on this level. But I want to make it so that we're switch outable. And he was like, yes, 100%, absolutely. And I was like, yes, I love it when I'm same paging and having systems conversations with people. I'm still shocked. I love systems as much as I do. I hope this has been helpful to know that you can thrive and have the things you've dreamed about and then been like, hmm, what's missing? Why isn't this working quite right? Or like, what could make this better? Or this was exhausting. Why? This was amazing. And I think I need XYZ. This was great. And I think I need next time to pack a check bag. This was great. And next time I need 2 days of downtime instead of just one. This was amazing. And also, I'm not doing that again. You're allowed to say that. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to let your golden headaches inform how you want to move forward. Just because you've done something one way for so long or for a short time doesn't mean that's how you have to move forward. It is okay. It is okay to change your mind. Yes. I'm like looking over my thing to be like, did I miss anything? But I don't think I did. My body care, soul care, self care has gone up immensely over the last 6 months, year, but really 6 months. I feel like my first 6 months landing here, I just was like sprint mode with business. But I'm also noticing I want more. Like I need basically double what I'm doing now with spirituality, with like my spirituality. I need more rituals. I need more sacred time. I need more quiet, like actual quiet off of everything. I need more down by the ocean time. I need more journaling time. And that is me prioritizing that. And I haven't been. And that's okay. Like I've been having my time, but it's not been in the way that I fully desire to connect with in this season, in this level of work. I'm like, okay, because when it's like video games, right? To go to the next level, you have to accomplish a few things. You have to build skill sets. Otherwise, you can't pass the next level, right? If you don't have the magic sword or if you don't know how to do a backflip jump, you can't get to that star. You have to learn that skill. And so right now it's being called, okay, we're deepening. We're deepening into the trust, into the knowing of the work and what I've been called and my alignment here with my higher power and embodying all of it and the both and the stretchiness of it. That's right now in the season. So it's like, okay, what do I need to make that happen? How do I need to be with myself so that I have capacity to do that? Do you see how I'm asking that question? So Let me know how this resonates. If you were like, oh, this was good, share with a friend, post it on social media, tag me, let me know your thoughts, post a comment, rate, review the show, all the things. It's also on YouTube and other podcast forums. Embodied in Joy is my free Facebook group. Come join us, come share your takeaways and your thoughts. And then if you would like to be on my coaching waitlist, my practice may open depending on a few things in June or July. And I hope you have a marvelous day full of goodness. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.